Welcome to Guts and Guns.
Today, we're getting into something pretty big. A question that seems to be causing real confusion, maybe even distress for a lot of young men right now.
Yeah, it's that question of what does it actually mean to be a man today in a world that feels like it's shifting under our feet?
Exactly. And it's not just a feeling. The numbers are, well, quite startling.
Yeah.
A staggering 43% of young men say they genuinely don't know what it means to be a man.
43%. That's nearly half. A critical challenge.
It really is.
And that's exactly why we're here, isn't it? This deep dive, we want it to be a real exploration, not just of the pressures you might be facing, but maybe more importantly, the huge opportunities there are for growth, for redefinition.
Right. Our mission really is to pull out the most powerful, actionable insights we can find. We're using a framework from a motivational speech called Empowering Young Men.
The goal being to help you cultivate that, unshakable self-worth. Help you become an architect of a positive future for yourself and maybe for society too.
Absolutely. And this source, Empowering Young Men, it gives us a brilliant structure. First, it kind of dissects the key challenges, identity, mental health, all that.
And then it builds up. It lays out these psychological foundations for inner power, healthy competition, living a life that actually has an impact.
So we're here to distill the really vital stuff for you, cut through the noise, and get to what truly matters. Ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's start by mapping out this landscape of modern masculinity, especially this identity crisis we mentioned. You might be feeling caught searching for what being a man means when, the old definitions are being questioned.
It creates a kind of identity vacuum, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And what often happens, the source suggests, is that young men unknowingly try to squeeze into this rigid man box of rules that often push outdated ideas.
And you see that generational split, too. Older men feeling completely masculine more often than younger guys. It points to a real disconnect, a kind of confusion being passed down or maybe just emerging now.
It's a strange mix. The source highlights this paradox. You mentioned it, 56% of millennial men, 57% of Gen Z men, they believe promoting women's equality has gone so far it actually discriminates against them.
Right. But then
at the same time, 57% of millennials, 60% of Gen Z feel really strongly expected to support women a lot.
it's a double bind. A feeling of disadvantage and immense pressure all rolled into one. And it's not just about what they should be doing, right? It's about what they can be.
That's a great point. So much advice focuses on don't do this, don't be that.
Exactly. What men should not be, rather than offering a positive, robust vision for, healthy alternatives. And this lack of positive definitions, it feeds into that internal conflict, sometimes shame.
Which can lead to unhealthy behaviors if you cling too tightly to those old, rigid ideas.
Definitely. And it contributes to bigger mental health challenges down the line. So the key takeaway for you listening is understanding this complex picture isn't just academic. It's really the first crucial step toward charting your own course, defining things for yourself.
Instead of just being pushed around by these external pressures.
Precisely.
And that internal conflict you mentioned, it often bleeds into something deeper and frankly pretty alarming, which is this pervasive mental health crisis among young men.
The silent epidemic, as it's often called.
Yeah. I mean, think about this. Nearly 20% of men were identified as having some form of mental illness back in 2022.
Which is already a huge number. But then
the really shocking part, only about 42% of those men actually got treatment. Less than half.
it's staggering. And it's not just about the number themselves, is it? It speaks volumes about the stigma. That deep-seated societal stigma around male emotional expression.
That rigid man box again?
Exactly. It implicitly teaches that asking for help, showing what might be seen as weakness, is somehow unmanly.
So men suffer in silence, or maybe turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms.
Right. Which leads to that dangerous cycle.
Yeah.
And the most sobering statistic, the suicide rate. More than 4 times as many men as women die by suicide each year.
4 times? Wow.
Yeah. Often attributed to using more lethal methods, maybe more impulsivity, fewer obvious warning signs sometimes, and it hits certain age groups. Hard men aged 40, 49 in the UK, for example, have the highest rates.
And this avoidance of vulnerability, it also fuels the loneliness epidemic, right? Makes it harder to build those genuine connections.
Absolutely. It all connects. When you put it all together, it just screams how urgent it is that we redefine strength. We need to make it okay, even necessary, to acknowledge and address feelings.
Seeking help isn't failure.
Not at all. It's an act of courage.
Yeah.
An act of self-mastery, really.
So yeah, these insights show a systemic problem, definitely. But like you said earlier, also a huge opportunity. An opportunity for you to redefine what real strength looks like for yourself, maybe influence things more broadly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Another big challenge. The digital world. Social media, that distorted digital mirror.
Oh, yeah. Huge impact on self-perception, body image, general mental well-being.
Think about that constant stream of filtered images, these false ideals online. The source even mentions boys as young as 6 or 8 developing body image issues because of these comparisons.
6 or 8 years old, it's heartbreaking. And it's that human highlight reel effect, you know?
Right. Everyone posting their absolute best moments.
Which creates massive FOMO, fear of missing out, and this constant nagging feeling that you're not keeping up, you're not good enough compared to your peers.
Fuels anxiety, self-doubt.
Massively.
Yeah.
And then you have cyberbullying layered on top.
Yeah.
25% of teenagers say they've been victims. That jumps to 52%, over half, for tweens to 20-somethings.
And the scary part is over half of them don't tell their parents. They just struggle alone.
It's isolating. And what's really insidious, I think, is how the algorithms work. They can kind of radicalize existing attitudes, right? By just feeding you more and more of what you already engage with.
Potentially reinforcing harmful views without you even realizing it.
Exactly. And the anonymity factor online. It can unleash discriminatory attitudes, bad behavior, often without any real accountability.
So recognizing these pitfalls, these digital traps, it's essential. It's about protecting your own mental health, building that self-worth from the inside, not relying on likes or external validation.
You have to build that internal foundation.
So we've talked about identity confusion, mental health struggles, the social media pressure cooker. What does this all mean for you listening right now?
Well, amidst all these challenges, there's a really clear, powerful opportunity.
An opportunity to define your own purpose, to become a positive influence.
Yeah. The source material points out this kind of lack of strong male role models in a lot of modern media. And that problem we mentioned, advice often focusing on what not to be.
But here's the flip side, the crucial counterpoint. There's tons of research showing that positive male role models, they make a profound difference in young men's lives.
How so?
Well, they encourage better academic performance, they can help guide career choices, they model healthy relationship skills, communication, empathy, handling conflict constructively.
So it's not just about being tough or stoic. Not at all.
Yeah.
These positive role models, they show emotional intelligence, authenticity, responsibility, compassion. They actively challenge those narrow, outdated masculine norms.
So connecting this back, this apparent lack of clear, positive role models in the mainstream, it's actually an opportunity.
A huge opportunity for self-agency. Without a rigid, predefined mold telling you exactly who to be, you have this incredible freedom. Freedom to construct your own authentic, positive masculine identity.
Drawing on those very traits, emotional intelligence, compassion.
Exactly. Defining your own manhood becomes this powerful act of self-empowerment. You get to fill that void yourself, in a way.
That really shifts the perspective, doesn't it? From just seeing problems to seeing potential. It empowers you to actively design your identity, to be the role model you might be looking for.
Step into that role.
Okay, so let's talk about how. How do you build that foundation? Let's start with unshakable self-esteem and confidence. What's really interesting here is the idea that these aren't fixed traits you either have or don't.
Right, they're built actively through intentional practices.
The source material really emphasizes recognizing and challenging those negative beliefs you might hold about yourself, focusing on your strengths, practicing self-compassion. It even mentions specific techniques like cognitive restructuring.
Which is basically a fancy way of saying challenging and reframing those internalized shoulds, right? Those rules society kind of imposes on you, boxing you in.
Yeah. And another powerful tool mentioned is setting boundaries.
Huge for confidence. It embodies that feeling of, I respect myself too much to let you treat me this way.
It connects to this core principle the source highlights, do good to feel good.
I love that. Because the research backs it up. Self-esteem isn't just about feeling good passively. It's about doing good, achieving real, worthwhile things through developing competence, through making choices.
Which is the total opposite of chasing likes on social media.
Exactly. It builds that robust inner core, much less swayed by external pressures. Confidence comes from doing real and worthwhile things, gaining skills, getting competent, maybe through meaningful groups or hobbies.
Like music, theater, martial arts, youth groups. Whatever resonates.
Whatever it is for you. It's about knowing yourself, being open to feedback, pushing your comfort zone a bit, even things like body language power poses, standing tall. And yes, investing in grooming, appearance, it's all part of holistic self-care.
So that holistic approach, mind and body, it really underpins that solid confidence. It's almost a prerequisite for performing well consistently.
Absolutely.
Okay, these are really practical strategies, things you can actually do to build confidence from the inside out, making you less dependent on what everyone else thinks.
Grounded in your own worth.
Next up, mastering emotional intelligence and resilience. Again, the source stresses these aren't innate gifts, they're skill sets. Skills anyone can learn to manage stress better, to actually grow from adversity.
And certain traits are linked to higher resilience, right? Like optimism, self-efficacy.
That belief in your own ability to handle things.
Exactly. And adaptability. Plus, using adaptive coping strategies like positive reappraisal, finding the good in a tough situation, or proactively tackling problems instead of avoiding them.
The source also mentions mindfulness, even just 10 minutes a day.
Yeah, the benefits are well documented. Reduces stress, improves sleep, mood, focus. It helps cultivate that balanced, realistic thinking, focusing on what you can control, which lessens that feeling of helplessness.
And it directly challenges those old societal rules about men not showing emotion.
Completely. We see positive role models demonstrating emotional intelligence. Parents are encouraged to help boys develop empathy or emotional awareness, letting them know it's okay, it's healthy to feel a whole range of emotions. Yes, even crying when you need to.
So looking at the bigger picture here, emotional literacy, emotional intelligence. It's actually a cornerstone of modern masculine strength.
Absolutely. Moving from that rigid stoicism to, let's say, emotional fluency that's essential for navigating today's complex world, for building meaningful relationships, for better mental health overall.
So cultivating this mental fortitude through things like mindfulness, cognitive control, it builds psychological strength.
Robustness, yeah. It enables real self-mastery and allows you to have a more positive impact out there.
It empowers you to break free from maybe self-destructive patterns, become a better leader, a better partner, by embracing emotional strength.
Making it part of your identity.
Okay, and this ties directly into our next point. Physical well-being isn't some separate category. It's a foundational pillar of mental and emotional strength.
They're deeply connected. The source hammers this home. Emotional and physical functioning are intertwined. Stress hits both hard.
So things like adequate nutrition, consistent sleep, regular exercise, they aren't just nice to haves. They're crucial for recovering from stress, for building that emotional resilience.
And here's a really critical point the source makes. Clinging too tightly to those rigid, sometimes called toxic masculine norms, it can lead to genuinely dangerous health behaviors.
Like avoiding the doctor, or pushing through illness to prove something.
Exactly. Things that seem tough on the surface but actually undermine health. And these behaviors contribute to that shocking statistic. Men dying, on average, 5 to 6 years earlier than women in many Western countries.
Wow. So physical self-care isn't a luxury. It's fundamental, non-negotiable almost.
You could say that. It's a core component of mental strength, of personal effectiveness. Prioritizing self-care in all its forms, hygiene, healthy eating, yes, but also pursuing hobbies that bring you joy. It's essential for growth and resilience.
So framing physical well-being as a discipline, an act of self-respect, it directly pushes back against those self-destructive parts of old-school masculinity.
Precisely. It builds a healthier, more robust identity overall.
It really underscores that taking care of your body is a profound act of self-respect and a strategic investment in your ability to perform at your peak, really, in all parts of life.
Well said.
Okay, moving into section 3, the competitive edge. How do you strive for personal excellence in a healthy way? Let's start with unleashing intrinsic motivation.
Yeah, that internal drive. Self-motivation is described as this powerful internal force, driven by your own goals, your personal values, and it massively boosts persistence, productivity.
So it's about pursuing things that are inherently enjoyable or meaningful to you, not just because someone else expects it or for some external reward.
That's the core of it. That's where true empowerment comes from. Key components are things like achievement drive, commitment, taking initiative, optimism, and that self-efficacy, again, believing you can actually do it.
You have to genuinely want the outcome of your actions, right? For it to be truly self-motivated.
Absolutely. And setting clear goals is vital here. High but realistic ones. The SMART goal framework is mentioned: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound.
That helps provide clarity and direction.
It does. And monitoring your progress, breaking down huge goals into smaller, manageable steps, middles, the source calls them, keeps the momentum going.
Right.
When motivation comes from within, tied to your values, it's just so much more sustainable. It's not dependent on external praise or validation.
Which means you need to define success on your terms, not based on external benchmarks or that restrictive man box.
Exactly. Goal setting becomes this dynamic process of self-discovery, adapting as you go, learning from wins and losses.
That helps you tap into a much deeper, more sustainable drive for achievement, something that feels authentic to you. And this leads perfectly into a really crucial point about competition, especially that phrase, be better than others. The source offers a really important reframe here.
It does. It draws a very clear line between healthy and unhealthy competition.
Okay, so what's the difference?
Well, healthy competition. It pushes you, leads to personal growth, boosts motivation, gives you a sense of accomplishment. It involves pushing your limits, sure, but also sportsmanship, fair play, respect, resilience.
And unhealthy competition.
That's driven by this consuming need to win at any cost. Often leads to unethical stuff, cheating, sabotage, plus tons of stress, broken relationships. Usually comes from insecurity or a deep fear of failure.
So a healthy approach focuses more on the process, on your own progress.
Exactly. It's underpinned by an abundance mindset. The idea that someone else's success doesn't take away from yours, and crucially, a growth mindset.
The belief that your abilities aren't fixed, they can be developed through effort.
Precisely. With a growth mindset, you embrace challenges, you see failures, not as the end of the world, but as learning opportunities. You can even feel happy for others when they succeed, not just envious.
So connecting this back, that idea of being better than others, it's most powerful when it means being better than your past self.
That's the reframe. It's not about tearing others down. It's about consistently outperforming your own previous performance. That growth mindset is the engine driving sustained effort, adaptability. It empowers you without breeding resentment or that crippling fear of failure.
That's a much more constructive way to look at it, shifting from destructive comparison to continuous personal evolution.
Empowers you without the negative baggage.
Right. Okay, section 4, leading your life impact and legacy. How does building a life of impact start? The source says it begins with forging meaningful connections, especially important now in what feels like an age of social isolation sometimes.
Yeah, resilience gets a huge boost from connecting with others in meaningful ways. It's not just about having contacts, it's about real connection.
So actively working on current relationships, expanding your network maybe by joining groups, fostering that sense of belonging, finding purpose together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Family, friends, they're vital sources of support. The advice is to spend time with people who are motivated, enthusiastic, supportive. It even suggests creating an open home environment, encouraging collaboration over constant competition, maybe even fostering friendships and activities with girls to broaden interests.
And positive male role models, they demonstrate this.
Definitely. They build strong relationships through things like active listening, being consistent, patient, showing empathy. What's really compelling here is that meaningful connections aren't just, a nice extra. They're a fundamental human need. A powerful resource for growth, for mental well-being.
It directly counters that isolation from too much screen time or from suppressing emotions due to those rigid norms.
Exactly. So forging these connections, it's a strategic imperative for your well-being, for your success. It gives you support, yes, but also a place to practice that emotional intelligence we talked about.
So redefining strength to include the ability to connect deeply, authentically, that's a path to building a positive legacy through community, not just individual achievement.
That's a powerful way to put it.
Yeah, this really encourages you to build that robust support system, essential for emotional backup, practical help, and just being human together. Okay, this next insight really ties a lot together, adversity. It's not just a roadblock. It's presented as a profound test, a crucible for resilience. It offers these invaluable chances for growth.
The source uses stories,
Yeah.
right? Examples of successful people whose paths were just littered with setbacks.
Yeah, people like Abraham Lincoln, relentless self-education, overcoming huge obstacles.
Or Thomas Edison, facing constant skepticism, especially with the light bulb. But his persistence was just incredible. Even today, think of someone like Elon Musk, major setbacks with early companies like Zip2, PayPal, but he just kept pursuing these incredibly ambitious goals.
So the pattern in these stories, it isn't that they didn't fail.
Not at all. Success wasn't about the absence of failure. It was about their response to it. They showed unwavering belief, persistence, mental fortitude.
It reframes adversity completely, not as this wall you hit, but as almost necessary. Necessary for developing the qualities you need for mastery, for impact.
Exactly. These stories, they should inspire you to see challenges not just as things to endure, but as profound opportunities. Opportunities for character development, for learning, for finding real inspiration in how others turned obstacles into stepping stones.
It normalizes the struggle, doesn't it? Makes failure less scary, more like data. An opportunity to build character, resilience, ingenuity.
Transforms it into fuel.
So, bringing it all home, what does this all mean for your life? True success, the source suggests, it goes beyond just personal wins. It encompasses a deep sense of purpose, unwavering integrity, and making a positive contribution to the world around you.
There's that great quote from Einstein, strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value.
Yeah. And the source explains that contributing, whether it's to your community, a cause you care about that's a huge source of personal growth, of deep well-being.
It doesn't have to be massive things either. Helping out within your family, volunteering locally, assisting neighbors, charity work.
Positive role models exemplify this too, right? By contributing, showing compassion, taking responsibility.
Definitely. Even part-time work or internships can provide that sense of meaning, valuable experience. And underpinning all of this is building a strong moral compass. Discipline, respect, integrity.
Which includes knowing how to advocate for yourself, stand up for your beliefs, but also knowing when to politely disagree or just say no.
Right. What's really powerful here is realizing that ultimate empowerment, that deep self-worth, it often comes from contributing positively to something bigger than just yourself. Those positive role models, they aren't just defined by their own achievements, but by their compassion, their responsibility, their ability to help others grow.
So defining success not just by what you accumulate or who you beat, but by the positive impact you have. That leads to deeper fulfillment, deeper self-respect.
Exactly. Building a legacy of value, of character, rooted in integrity and self-respect that offers a much profounder sense of fulfillment, a more lasting influence than just chasing personal success alone.
It inspires you to think bigger than just yourself, to define success by your contribution, leading to deeper fulfillment, lasting influence.
A richer life, really.
Wow. Okay, this deep dive has really shown, I think, that becoming an empowered, impactful man in today's world, it's a continuous journey, isn't it? A journey of self-discovery, intentional growth.
It really is. We've covered so much ground. Cultivating that unshakable self-esteem from the inside out, mastering emotional intelligence and resilience. Prioritizing physical well-being is that crucial foundation.
Yeah, and channeling intrinsic motivation, embracing healthy competition with that growth mindset, forging those vital connections.
Learning from adversity, seeing it as opportunity, and finally defining your own success through contribution and integrity. It all fits together.
It does. And the core message, I hope, is that you listening, you are capable of far more than you probably think. This journey of becoming, it's an odyssey, but you absolutely have the tools. You can be the architect of your own fulfilling life.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. While yesterday can't be changed, today offers this profound opportunity to change your trajectory. So the question is, what will you build starting now?
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Tune in again